Hello, I'm Peter Towers. Welcome to Empowering SMEs. Crowdsourced funding can help achieve goals. Very important for businesses. Where do you want to be in 2 years' time? Perhaps you've developed some new technology and you're currently at the prototype stage. What is your goal for 2 years' time? Would it look something like this? Turnover $5 million. Net profit before tax $1.5 million. External shareholder investment into your company $1 million. Current shareholders, you and your colleagues, own 65% of the company and the external investors own 35%. Valuation prepared in 2 years' time has valued your company at $6.5 million. This is based on your projected profitability, calculating on the after-tax figure, with a multiplier of 6 because you've implemented strategies very similar to a public company. So instead of the valuation around 4 on the after-tax profit, hopefully you will be able to convince your investors that the multiplier of 6 is reasonable. And this would mean that your investment in your company was worth $4.2 million, whereas today it's probably not worth much at all, is it? You've got to the prototype stage and it's cost you all your money, but no one's really going to pay you any money for that at this stage. But currently you're worried about the cost to commercialise your prototype. You hadn't really thought about that, had you? You need to develop a commercialisation strategy. What do we do from now with this prototype until we've got this product in the marketplace, which might be 12 months away? You'll need to develop a business plan and undertake an investment readiness process. Because I believe in this sort of case study, you would need to utilise Section 708 of the Corporations Code to raise some initial capital. Section 708 allows a company to raise up to $2 million every 12 months from no more than 20 investors. Your commercialisation project has been estimated at a cost of about $1 million. You are keen to apply for a accelerating commercialisation grant, which would supply 50% of that cost, $500,000. It could have gone as high as $1 million, but you only need $500,000. But you need to have matching funds. I think you'd probably try to obtain them from potential shareholders who are prepared to invest larger sums than $10,000, which is all they're permitted to do under the crowdsourced funding rules. So in this case study, you would apply for the Accelerating Commercialisation Grant, and with the $500,000 that you've raised from up to 20 external shareholders, you'd be able to start your commercialisation process. And when you've advanced a little bit down the track on that, would be the time to start undertaking the investment readiness, the awareness of what crowdsourced funding's all about, the role of the crowdsourced funding intermediary. And then to prepare the crowdsourced funding offer document so that you could negotiate with a crowdsourced funding intermediary, there are 7 of them in Australia, to be able to raise $500,000, which would be the amount of money you will probably need for working capital purposes in your company. Now this process is going to require a lot of expert input to make it all come to fruition. You will need some advice from a patent attorney on what type of patents you might be desirable in this business. You will need a business plan, budgets and cash flow forecasts, market research, a marketing plan. There will need to be a company valuation at the very beginning so that the amount of share price to be paid by the initial Section 708 investors can be determined, and the investors who would be making an investment as a crowdsourced funding company. You would probably need some upskilling in your role as a director so that you understand all aspects of being a director. You will need to have at least 2 directors on this company because it's raising capital from crowdsourced funding. But I suspect you'll probably need at least a board of directors of 4 people because the Section 708 investors will probably want a director, and so should the crowdsourced funding investors have a director as their representative. You will need accounting advice in setting up the systems. The board will need some input from an expert on people management relative to the appointment of the CEO. The board will also benefit from expert input from a sales coach to ensure that the most appropriate person is appointed as the sales manager for your company. And the accounting advice and an experienced external director would be very valuable in the appointment of a chief financial officer who is able to dig down into the figures, get real management information for you to review. There's a bit of process to get to your goal in 2 years' time, isn't there? But it can be achieved. I'd like to make you aware of the Corporate Governance Network because we have all of these experts participating in 8 webinar workshops of 90 to 120 minutes each during 2018-19. Experts in all of the activities that I just mentioned. You can log on to obtain a copy of the recording of the first webinar for free, or you can start subscribing to the webinars at a cost of $78 including GST per webinar recording. And the next webinar live recordings to be made on the 24th of October, that's webinar number 3. But webinar recording for number 2 will be available around the 3rd of October. So why not visit our website, www.ESMEs022.com.au, to have a look at all aspects of the Corporate Governance Network. Because part of this strategy of achieving your goal in 2 years' time will be that the directors, the shareholders of your company are very aware of the journey that you will be undertaking and the need to improve your skill levels in a whole range of matters, not just on how to develop the prototype that you and your colleagues have obviously been able to develop. If you would like to have a discussion with me about the ramifications of this case study or what the Corporate Governance Network does or how you go about getting started on the journey to raise capital as a crowdsourced funding company, please don't hesitate to contact me. Send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone me on 1800 232 088. Have a great day. Goodbye.